This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, and good evening all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, a team from the Civil Aviation Department in Bimini continuing investigations into a plane crash that has left 2 men dead. Now, the incident occurred around 4:15 yesterday afternoon in bushes adjacent to the runway in South Bimini. Reports say the 2 men had just taken off from the Bimini airport on a test flight when the purple and white twin engine went down in bushes near the airport. While the authorities have not released the identity of the 2 persons who perished in that crash, ZNS News has learned that the victims are 47-year-old Freeport pilot Terrence Tango Gibson and well-known aircraft mechanic Anthony Scrubby Smith. Well, yesterday's fatal crash leaving many in the aviation industry in a state of shock. The 2 victims were well known with years of experience in the business. Tonight, a pilot who has worked closely with both victims are reflecting on the time spent together in the airline industry. Contract pilot for Flamingo Air, Lyndon Mitchell, says he knew both men who perished in Sunday's crash off South Bimini. In fact, the veteran pilot says he knew them ever since he began his flying career over 2 decades ago.
I've known Terrence Gibson, from here in Grand Bahama. We basically started our flying careers around about the same time in the mid-1980s, right up to the time that he lost his life. Scrubby, Anthony Smith, he was a very well-known aviation mechanic. He operated from the airport in Bimini. Over the years, everyone who would have flown in and out of Bimini would have been very familiar with who Scrubby was, because any time you had a situation with an aircraft mechanically, he was able to get you going until you were able to get back to your home base.
According to reports, around 4:15 p.m. yesterday afternoon, a plane crashed in bushes adjacent to the runway in South Bimini. Mitchell recalled hearing the tragic news.
Yeah, I was sitting home yesterday and, I got a WhatsApp message asking if I heard about a plane crash in Bimini. I said no. And of course, the WhatsApp kind of lit up. I saw pictures and it confirmed that, Terrence Gibson, friend of mine for a very long time, along with Scrubby, Anthony Smith, they perished in an aircraft that Tango was piloting.
He says when reality set in, it left a hole in his heart. He says their passion for what they did professionally could never be understated.
They were very ambitious, hard-working individuals. Tango, I can say that he was one of a very aggressive nature. He was dauntless. He never had a fear of airplanes. He was just always ready to jump in, crank up and blast off. And Scrubby, on the other hand, he was also very helpful and willing to assist. Whatever the situation was, he was prepared to do whatever it took to get you flying again.
And as investigations continue, there are many who speculate as to what could have gone wrong.
Statistically, it's been proven that most aircraft accidents happen near the ground, either during the phase of taking off or landing. That's when things can happen quickly. I don't know if it was weather related or whether it was a mechanical situation or whether he was trying to avoid another aircraft. It's very difficult to say, but I guess at the appropriate time when investigations are done, the public at large would be duly informed as to what really contributed to the accident.
In other news, a business establishment on Don McKay Boulevard in Abaco was reportedly robbed over the weekend. Police tell us a masked man armed with a shotgun entered the business and robbed the store of a large sum of money, then made off in the cashier's silver Honda vehicle. Officers later recovered the stolen vehicle abandoned through a track road near Spring City. 2 male suspects were arrested a short time later. They're assisting police with this investigation. In other news, the government getting ready to launch its youth employment program on Grand Bahama. Officials hope that with the assistance of public and private partners, they would be able to have a positive impact in the lives of hundreds of youngsters on this island.
The numbers were in the hundreds as youngsters on Grand Bahama began queuing up early Monday morning to be a part of a major youth employment initiative spearheaded by the government. With the assistance of the police, the process began like clockwork with many persons arriving as much as an hour in advance. Initially, the lines extended the length of the parking lot as applicants were issued numbers to ensure a smooth process. While sustainable job creation remains a priority of the government, in an attempt to help lessen the burden of the high unemployment rate among our country's youth, the application phase of the Government Youth Employment Program in Grand Bahama got underway. Project Officer with the Ministry for Grand Bahama, Manuel Taylor.
Once they get the application today, they will turn it into the Ministry for Grand Bahama, and then we go through the processing. They will get a call. They are to show up for orientation, and then after orientation, we will let them know the various places they will be dispatched to. There is a deadline which is set for Wednesday at 5 p.m.
We're almost midway to the process. How many have you distributed so far?
We are a little over 330 at this time. And
that number could double?
I foresee that happening, yes. Yeah.
Taylor says the program is designed to not only give youngsters something constructive to do for the summer, but provide invaluable work experience.
The government provides the salary or the wage. The businesses, they just provide the space. And we would hope that while we're utilizing their space with these human capital, that is not just something where they go there, just sit down all day and fetch coffee, but they actually learn something.
Taylor stated that the next step is for officials to divide the successful applicants into 2 cycles of the program.
It's 2 phases from July 4th to the end of July, and then the second phase starts in August. Most believe August 2nd, because the first is a Monday, which is a holiday as well. So we start the next business day after that. So each phase is 4 weeks.
Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. There is more news when we come back.